Good morning, everyone. Hope everybody's Rosh Hashanah went well. Gemar Chasim Tova to everyone. Okay, we're up to Perek Yud Mishna Gimel. Haroide pas chama, somebody who removes hot bread from an oven. Unasana al pi chavish shel yayin, and then he put it on top of an open barrel shel yain truma of truma wine. Okay, he's got a hot piece of bread straight out of the oven. And he's putting it on top of an open barrel of truma wine. Rabbi Meir forbids the bread. Rabbi Yehuda permits it. The issue here is the following. This hot bread sitting on top of the barrel of wine absorbs the aroma of the wine. And the question is if the aroma of something is considered a substance. The phrase that's used is reicha milsahi. Aroma is a matter of substance. That's how the Adavam explains it. Now, if you hold that aroma is a matter of substance, so the same way that we previously learned that if a food takes in the flavor of truma, it's considered a mixture of chulin and truma. So if you hold reicha milsa, if aroma is considered a matter of substance, so then it's the same kind of thing like a flavor. We also had previously that if a dough rose because of truma, right? We had that case of the truma apple that was crushed and it was put into the dough and it made it rise. There also, the effect of the rising is considered like we have the substance of the truma here. So the question is the aroma of truma considered a matter of substance of truma like the flavor is? And if Rabbi Meir says, Rabbi Meir forbids this bread, that means that he holds it does. He holds that when the bread now absorbs the aroma of the wine, it is not considered a mixture of chulin and truma, and therefore it's going to be forbidden. Rabbi Yehuda permits, he holds, reicha lav milsahi. Aroma is not a matter of substance, and therefore it doesn't affect the bread at all. Okay. Rabbi Yosi mater b'shal chitim. Rabbi Yosi permits, if the bread is made out of wheat, he says the bread is permissible. But he forbids if the bread was made from barley. Because barley has the ability to draw. What that means is that barley has the ability to draw not just aroma, but actual flavor. I guess through some kind of vapor or moisture. But the point is that some of the substance, some of the flavor of the truma wine, that actual flavor, like if you were to go ahead and put some kind of a hot food in the wine, it would absorb from the wine. So here too, although it's not touching the wine, but because of the heat, it's now going to draw some of the moisture from the wine and actually be able to take on flavor from the wine. Therefore, Rabbi Yossi says like this: in the case of our Mishna, when you got a hot piece of bread, a hot loaf of bread out of the oven, putting it on top of an open barrel of truma wine, if it is wheat bread, so then the only issue is reicha, and it's very clear that Rabbi Yossi says, Rabbi Yossi who permits by the wheat bread, he holds reicha lav milsa. He holds that the aroma is not a matter of substance. At the same time, when it comes to the barley bread, because it's barley, isn't just going to take on aroma, it's going to actually take on flavor. And therefore, Rabbi Yossi says, it's forbidden if the bread that you put on top of the barrel of truma wine was barley bread. It's going to be forbidden because it draws up the flavor, actual flavor from the bread, from the wine. Now, the question is like this. The question is that why did Rabbi Yossi say it's forbidden if it's bread? We've had before situations where where a food absorbs the flavor of truma, we say get a kohen to taste it and see is the flavor there or not. How come we don't mention that here? So the commentaries explain that actually that is the halacha here. You're actually going to get a kohen, to come and taste it and see, is there a flavor there or not? But the assumption according to Rabbi Yossi is that there is flavor. The barley bread does typically draw flavor from the wine. That's the nature of this hot barley bread. And therefore, the assumption is it's forbidden. If you bring a kohen who's allowed to eat it, and he comes and tastes it, and he says there is no flavor of the wine, then anybody can eat it from then on. But really, the assumption is it's forbidden. The assumption is that it has absorbed flavor. There is flavor there, meaning it's going to absorb it. The assumption is that it absorbs enough of the flavor to make it forbidden. And meaning if you take it absorbs enough of the flavor that you could taste it. Therefore, the assumption is forbidden. If a Kohen comes and he eats it and he says, no, there is no flavor here, then anybody would be able to eat it. The same thing would be if, let's say, this barley bread is 60 times more than the wine that the flavor is coming from. That is a concept of being nullified, flavor being nullified in 60. When we're talking about the flavor of truma, although we say if truma gets mixed together with other truma, you need 100 times more. But here where the issue is the flavor that's coming out of the wine, so the flavor of the wine isn't going to be more than the wine itself. If this, well, again, from the point of flavor, that is. From the point of flavor, if this wine were to fall into would be absorbed into the barley bread, if the barley bread is 60 times more, it nullifies the taste. And therefore, it would be permissible from that point. So here too, if it comes out that the barley bread is 60 times more than the wine, then whatever aroma is going to go, whatever flavor would go in, would be nullified because it's not going to be better than the wine itself. Mitzvahs loisase shalavar al another. Prohibition against failing to keep a vow. Shenemar, as it says, ish ki yadar neder lo yachal devaray. A person who makes a vow, he shall not break his word. You make a vow, you have to keep it. And taking a vow has its specific ways of how it's expressed. But if you express it if you express a vow in the word of a neder, I make a neder, let's say, or you say in English, I make a vow to do something. You got to keep it. Otherwise, you transgress a Torah prohibition. Applies in all places at all times, both by men and by women. Now, mitzvahs loisase shloila achar nidra v'nidvasei. Here we have a prohibition not to delay the fulfillment of one's vow or voluntary offering. This is going to be actually from the context of the pasuk of the verse where we derive it from. We're talking about here where you vow to bring a carbon. There is a way to vow to bring a carbon. You voluntarily bring a carbon. We're not going to go into what the differences are right now. But you basically made a vow to bring an animal as a sacrifice. So we say there's a prohibition against delaying the fulfillment of bringing it. Shemar, as it says, kisidar neder, if you make a vow, do not delay in paying it up. You do not transgress this, again referring to if it's a sacrifice, until three of the holidays pass. Meaning it has to go through a cycle of Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, and then you have transgressed this prohibition. Now, here is where it becomes relevant. Tzedakah, charity, is also included in what we call a vow. But when it comes to tzedakah, it comes to charity, if he delays, he will immediately transgress the prohibition of delaying, meaning if he makes a vow to give poor people X amount of money, so then there are always poor people around, and since you have the opportunity to give it to the poor person and you don't, you are delaying, and that would be the transgressionist prohibition. But let's say there are no poor people around. Then you separate money, and then you wait till you find a poor person to give it to. Now, if he made a condition when he made his vow that he's not going to give it until he finds a poor man, there is no need to have to go ahead and separate. But once you find the poor man, you have to give it right away. It applies in all places at all times, both by men and by women. Have a wonderful day and an easy fast and a meaningful fast.